Okay, it's recording right now. All right, so this homework is due on September 3rd. We're going to start with number 1. It's saying, what is the absolute value of negative 29? So how many spaces is negative 29 away from 0? So that should be an easy answer for you. I'm going to just skip over that one. I'm not going to give you anything on that one. Okay, for number 2, we are finding the product of a number. And so we're going to go through and multiply. I'm going to go ahead and do the 6s with you. I'll do the 6 with you. And then we'll talk about the placement of the decimal. And then I'll let you finish it off. So 6 times 0 is 0. And then 6 times 5 is 30. And 6 times 5 is 30, plus the 3 is 33. 6 times 3 is 18, plus the 3. Let's see, we have 18, 19, 20, 21. And then 6 times 6 is 36, plus the 2 is 38. I strongly encourage you to cross off everything that you're not going to use so you don't accidentally use it again, and then you will drop down to 0. So then your mission now is going to be doing 1 times 0, 1 times 5, 1 times 5, 1 times 3, and 1 times 6. Now at the very end, we have 1, 2, 3 place value spots that we are going to take our decimal and move it over. So at the very end of our answer, we should have 1, 2, 3 different spots left over, okay? All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, we have to go, it says which number would be located in the shaded part of the diagram. So, shaded part of the diagram is whole numbers. So we have a negative 2, which would look like this. We have a positive 44. We have a negative 6. And then we have 8/5. And 8/5 is not equivalent to a whole number, so it's a true fraction. So we're trying to figure out which one of those numbers goes in the center spot. So you can either put the number inside that part, or you can just circle the number. Just make sure Miss Martell knows which number you think goes there. And there's only one. All right, we are classifying the number 7,891. It says, which is the most specific group. So I know that this number might be all of the things, but I want to know which is its actual identification. Like, where would it go on that circle map like we just looked at above? So there's one that you will choose. Okay, convert 4500ths into a simplified fraction. So this is the homework where you have to simplify everything that needs to be simplified. So I will try to tell you whether it has to be simplified, but sometimes I won't. But hopefully you watch the video, because in the video I will always tell you. So this is in the hundredths place, so I'm going to put 45 over 100. Did you have a question? No. Do you have a question? Okay. All right. So that is what it looks like as a fraction. Okay. But a simplified fraction, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find all the factors of 45 and all the factors of 100. And then the factor that they have that's the biggest will be what I divide by. So 1 and 45 make 45. There's nothing times 2 that equals 45. 3 times 15 equals 45. 5 times 9 equals 45. And then if I was to keep going, I would end up getting 9 times 5. And so when my facts flip, I know that I'm done. So I believe that those are all of the ones for 45. For 100, I have 1 and 100, 2 and 50, 4 and 25, 5 and 20, and 10 and 10. And then I'm just going to look. Okay, well, they share 1. They share 5, and I believe that's all they share. So their greatest common factor is 5. So I'm going to take both of these, and I'm going to divide by 5. 45 divided by 5 is 9, and 20 divided by 100 divided by 5 is 20. So this is the simplified fraction. Now I'm going to tell you right now that if you turned it in and you only put 45 over 100, I would do -3, and I would say simplest form. Okay, so I wouldn't mark it all the way wrong, but I would take away 3 points. And then if you got your homework back and you were like, ugh, I missed it, I was going too fast, you could put it in simplest form and give it back to me, and I'll give you back the 3 points. All right. We're using the greater than, less than, or equal to sign for these ones. So I would add a 0 to this so they have the same amount of place value spots. And then I'd be like, okay, 5 and 5 are the same. 7 and 7 are the same. 0 and 7 are not the same. 7 is greater, and so therefore this number is the bigger number. Find the sum. Well, this one we need to find a common denominator. So this is different. I'm not finding the greatest common factor. Now I'm finding the least common multiple. So I'm going to count until I find a number that's the same. I think it's 24. So I'll stop there. And I was right, it's 24. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to change the denominator on the 6 and the 8 to be 24. Well, I know that 6 times 4 is 24, so I'm going to have to multiply 5 times 4 as well. So that new fraction is going to be 20 over 24. I have to do the same thing to 7/8. I have to make it over 24. So I know that 8 times 3 is 24, so I'm going to do 7 times 3 as well. And then this is my new fraction. Now, when we're adding or subtracting, we're keeping the 24, so the 24 will stay, and then I will add the two numbers, my two numerators. If it's a bigger number up top, which we'll just do this together, I'm not going to accept that because that's not in simplest form. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to do top in, bottom out, and at least turn it into a mixed number. I'll let you finish that one off. All right, 8. Find the quotient. You must have a decimal answer. So let's first fix this because it looks funky town. And then let's pull up our decimal. Well, 12 goes into 12 one time. 12 minus 12 is 0. Bringing down a 9. You're going to finish it. Whatever you get for how many groups of 12 you make with 9, you put right here, and you've already made a decimal answer. So you don't have to worry about it anymore. Go ahead and keep solving that one. Find the quotient. This one wants a fraction remainder. Okay, so at the very end, whatever your remainder is, you're going to put over 12. Why 12? Because 12 is what you start with. That's the dividend, or that's the divisor. And so whatever number you get at the very end, you're going to stick it on here. And so you might have 100 and 1/12 or 300 and 4/12. But that's how you'll make a fraction remainder. Okay, simplified fraction. This is in the tenths place. And so we're going to put it over 10. You're going to do the same thing over here. You're going to come up with all the ways you make 6, all the ways you make 10. The greatest factor that they share is what you'll divide it by. And I'm going to let you do that where you have that modeled right next to you on the other one. All right, I'm turning it over. It's working in slow motion here. Okay, compare greater than, less than, or equal to. I think that what I would do on this one is I would do top in, bottom out. We'll discover that you can make two groups and it's nice and even. And so this is really equivalent to 2. Now, if we're comparing 2 with a fraction, you should be able to tell which one's bigger. Find the product. These ones are awesome because you don't have to have a common denominator, but they're not awesome in the fact that you have to turn those mixed numbers into improper fractions for it to work out right. So I'm going to do that on this one for you. You take your 3 and you multiply it by your 1. Well, 3 times 1 is 3. And then I take my 3 and I add it to the 2 and I get a 5. And so this in improper form is 5/3. Now I can multiply across. When you multiply across, you should get this. And then again, if it's an improper fraction, you have to do top in, bottom out, at least turn it into a mixed number. Otherwise, I would say something about simplifying when I was to grade your paper. Find the difference. This is like a double whammy because we need to have common denominators and we have to turn that into an improper fraction before we do that. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 5. So 5/3 minus 3/4. Your first course of action is coming up with a 3 and a 4, a common denominator, and then you can subtract them. Find the product. I'll get you set up. We're going to go 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. So 11/4 times 6/7. And then you need to multiply across. If you end up having a bigger number in your numerator, then you're going to divide. All right. We're going to write this as a decimal. To do that, you're going to put your numerator inside the division house and divide by your denominator. If y'all just walked in and you need homework, I have homework for you so you can follow along with us. Dallas, do you already have one, buddy? Okay, nice. All right. Number 16, we are going to compare. We're comparing -15 and -21. The one that is closest to 0, if you're comparing negative numbers, the one that's closest to 0 is larger. It has a larger value. So hopefully that helps you. Okay, which numbers should be in the shaded diagram? The shaded diagram is the rational numbers. Rational numbers are fractions, decimals, negative fractions, negative decimals, and I do not want you to put what's the question?
I don't have that.
Okay, interesting. So you guys have something different. Please stop talking because I'm doing the video. I don't want everyone to be confused. Okay, so I can see it. I got it right here. So it says that this one, it looks like the one you have is easier. Thank you guys for pointing that out. So number 17 has 3 7/75, and then it asks you to decide if it's a whole number, an integer, or if it's a rational number. And so you just need to figure out which location would that go in, and it's only going to go in one of them. Sorry about that. I don't know why I have a different one. It looks like the rest of it's the same though. Okay, this one can be confusing because it's like, what is this asking me? What it's asking you is what's the absolute value of what number equals 5? Okay, there's 2 numbers. So if you're standing on the 0 and you walk one direction, you're going to get 5. And if you're standing on 0 and you walk the other direction, you're going to get 5. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I will tell you that if I did a little example one right here, and let's pretend like the example was 8. What number has an absolute value of 8? Well, -8 and +8. So there's your little example. Number 19, convert to a decimal. Numerator in, denominator out, and divide. This one, I have faith in you that by the end of the school year, you'll have it memorized. Ascending order means least to greatest. So all you have to do is put those numbers in least to greatest. We're going to start you off by saying it's -30.